Hello viewers and welcome to more WRC Generations, and today looking at the Leagues mode. Now the online modes were an aspect I don't get to look at much pre-launch, even though I covered them in the preview. At that time, of course, leaderboards, there's barely anyone on the leaderboard and you really need to get everybody on there, wait till you get the final game, then try it out. So I thought, well, let's get stuck in, kick off first with the daily challenges today, and then I'll come back later this week with a look at the weekly challenges as well. So going into Finland, I was going into this feeling like I probably had no chance. The aliens are on it. I will see how I get on, but with crossplay as well, the leaderboards are extra tough. Obviously we don't have many of the Xbox players on there because they don't have wheel compatibility yet. But either way, going around Finland, a stage I enjoy. It was quite a lot of fun this week. It just happened to be stages I enjoy on all three stages. A bit rusty, just getting used to the Toyota on this course, because the course has been changed slightly. Some of the bumps have been changed, the way the car moves, the way the power surge is. I'm running default setup, default power deployment. I have no idea in terms of the power deployment difference on this stage, but this would probably be a good stage for me to run as a consistent stage and try and maximize that. But either way, little lifts here and there. Again, sweeping the car into that corner. Strange corner, that one. There is a line to get it just right. I didn't quite get it, but it wasn't too bad. This section here you can take flat out. I've taken this flat out before now on a stream in WRC 10, and I think 9 as well in DLC. So just throw it in there. You can actually fly over the corner. I didn't do that. I'm downshifting and sliding through. The cars are a little bit heavier now, so you probably can't do that on this version. This section here, there's a lot of off-camber jumps and bumps, so just trying to work the wheel. There's a lot of steering wheel work going on just to keep the car going in the right direction. And then here there's some sort of bumps mid-corner. Keep the car close to the inside. It can touch the outside corner. Again here, this is a 6, but I treat it as a 4. It's one of those corners that the bumps really throw you off. So on paper it might be a fast corner, but in reality a little bit of stage knowledge goes a long way on those few corners. Come to this number 2. I'm slightly on the wrong part of the track there, so I didn't sweep through that quite the way I would like. But relax again now. We're going into the back half of the stage as I see it psychologically. Braking down to a very slow corner. There is a rock on the inside. You want to avoid that, so take your time. Very low traction on the exit. Go down a gear. Again, you come to a 4 corner here, and then a very twisty section. Again, off camber, unpredictable bumps. Through a 3, I think, here, and then onto the upcoming left 6. And again, there is a bit of camber, but it throws the car off. It's all very uneven through that section. That's one of the most tricky sections on the entire stage. Sweeping in here, really work the wheel. The back end can get away from you. And again, using the racing line on this section, throwing the car either way to get it right to the inside of the corner, maximizing your drive on the exit. A little bit of instability in the car here, but still some lifting going on. I'm keeping it safe. So when I'm recording videos such as the rally videos you see on Steam, often I'm not at full pace. I'm sort of 90% there, because ideally the objective for me is to run it cleanly rather than on the limit pace, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm running it cleanly just to get a time in the bag, as it were. You want to just put down a banker first, but also you learn a lot while doing these sections. You learn where there's a bit more speed, how much risk you want to take. So I'm lifting a lot on jumps, little lifts through here and there, little blips, because I don't want the car jumping too far. I want it to be settled so I can get it into the corner, flow through the corner. That worked really nicely. Again, you've got to brake right down for that hairpin. If you try to go too fast, you'll find yourself just falling off the track. There's not a lot of speed to be gained in those sections. Braking correctly when you need to, latest possible braking, getting it through those apexes. So I'm slowing down nice and early, getting the car into the corner, sliding through, not too bad, a bit sluggish on turning, sliding through there nicely, and I take a couple of lifts to just try and stabilise the car. Not entirely confident how it's going to affect the bumps. Again, this tricky final corner can get away from you. It's a longer corner than you think it's going to be. Sweep through there, competent, not too bad. So I've run a clean time there. I thought to myself, that's a nice banker. Let's see if we end up 500 on leaderboard, something like that. We started somewhere, I think it was 9,000 was the start as far as where we were. 449, I can just about see it where I'm sitting. And again, get your rewards. And where are we? We're 18th on the leaderboard. Well, that was a big surprise to be up to 18th already on the leaderboard. I thought I didn't expect we would be up that high with a run like that. That was a really basic banker run. So it got me thinking, oh, maybe we can have another go. Maybe we can get a bit higher up the leaderboard. And sometimes you like to look up at first and see, ooh, how far away is first? Well, first is a very, very, very long way away. Big gap there, but it's achievable. Again, I'm just using default, so I don't even know if I'm using the correct power setting for this stage. So I thought, well, let's go again. I go back to the title screen and I check it out and say, right, let's have the next go and have another stab at it. See how we get on. So have a run, much more aggressive this time. I've sped this up because we'll have a third go as well. Everything was going well. I was miles ahead of my previous time at this stage. And then disaster strikes. So just going to this corner and I get a squirt of just the rear wheels just spin up unexpectedly and it just throws me off and we lose about 7 seconds just with that there. And then despite that, we're going to speed up now towards the rest of the stage. I just say, oh, well, it doesn't matter now. Let's just go hell for leather. Let's just see where we end up anyway in terms of we've made that mistake where we lost a good 7 seconds, losing time, getting back up to speed again. You lose all that time. And we'll see where we come to the end of it. Again, much more aggressive through that section. Flat through here now. No lifting on the jumps. Braking later. Getting the car through there perfectly this time. Flat through those two corners. Nailing the final corner. And let's see where we ended up compared to what our time was before. And our time has improved. So we've gone from 4:49 to 4:44 despite the crash. So then I say to myself, well, I'm easily capable of a 4:36 if I can really push on the entire stage. There was another minor mistake towards the end of that stage as well. So I thought to myself, no, we can really work on that. Going to look at that sliding 8, see the back end just getting away from me. You know, sometimes with these hybrid cars, when a little bit of energy deployment comes in when you least expect, what's also going on is that it's been mentioned the throttle issue where the power isn't cutting in until you have, you know, roughly 75% of power down. That wasn't in the early builds, or the early build I was testing originally. So that is making a big issue for power deployment now in terms of putting the power down. So let's go again now. Third and final run on Finland. And I'm going to take you through my mindset as I'm racing this. I'm just flat through here, fast as you can. Brake nice and early and get the car into this corner. Better to get through there a little bit slower. But as it happened, we took it pretty well. Nailing it this time, really carrying speed through there. Very close to the gate on the right-hand side. The car's just getting away from me a little bit, almost out of control. But bringing it back, had to shift down to third just to get some more traction. Up to fourth, lots of bumps, trying to keep traction through that section, working well, pushing the car. Again, another one of those corners, you want to get the car into it, can spit you out on the outside if you go in there too fast. So slow in, build the power out, losing a bit of control, oversteering a little bit, but okay, we got through that section as well. Now we come to my fun section, the high speed section that I used to take at full speed. We won't, but we will try and nibble at the corner a bit more. Carry as much as we can. We're into fifth, Let's see if we can nibble it. And we're going down to 4th, but we are nibbling at that apex and immediately back up to 5th. So we probably still can, if we really push, take that just about flat. Again, carrying a lot more speed. You can see the car jumping about a lot, very unsteady on its suspension through here. Working the wheel, the car moving around under me, sliding, really taking it through the inside on that apex, ready for the car to fly up in the air unpredictably, even just to save it inside past the telegraph poles, minding that barrier that was on the right hand side, throwing the car early into this corner, ready for the bridge. The car moving around a lot, knowing we made that mistake earlier. We're going to be a little bit careful through here this time. Nice wide berth, very progressive on the power that time. Worked well though, good traction on the exit. Now coming down to our braking point. I'm just looking at that braking point now and thinking, let's go here. I have to make a judgment call. Down to 1st. I thought, let's just get through the corner. You know, there's more time to lose than gain. Tricky section here now, trying to carry as much speed as I can. Being progressive on that section. There was more speed to find. I slowed down a little bit just to get through there. Still a little bit unsteady, still a bit uncertain in the car. Some of those bumps are unpredictable at best. Carrying a bit more speed through there, car sweeping round a bit more. And again, back end, just stepping out, controlling that, working hard on the wheel through that corner. Now feeling good, carrying a lot of speed. We know we're on a good time. Bit too tight to the apex there. Wheel stuck in a ditch and causing me to go up on 2 wheels. Sweeping it into these corners. Unsteady through here. I'm tighter to the inside than I would like to have been. And now sweeping downhill, carrying as much speed as I can. Being brave now up into 5th. We're going for it. We're going to carry as much speed as we can into this corner. Just give it a lift. Back end standing out. Oh, having to go down a gear. So we've made a mistake through there. Didn't get the car in as we would like and lost a bit of speed on the hill. Trying to get it back now. Nibbling again. Preparing the car. Nibbling at the apexes. Preparing the car for the jumps. Slowing down a bit too much that time. And again, losing a bit of drive up the hill, but not too bad. Just small amounts of time though. This is you know, tenths lost here, tenths lost there. Seconds to be found on those corners through that section. Flat now. We're really going for it on this section. As we can, as flat as we can. The car is landing. It's very stable under landing. That's nice. Slowing down a bit again for the hairpin. And braking. Nicely round the tree, no more time to find, just take it nice and sensibly, get down through the gears, a nice slow handbrake, flat through this section, carrying the speed, keeping the car central. We're on for a way better time than we had before. We are miles ahead of our previous times. This is feeling good, I'm feeling good, perfectly through the corner, sliding it through there, and oh, we hit a rock of some kind that I didn't know was there. And so that's ruined the time, unfortunately. Sliding it through that next corner. Momentum has been lost now. We've lost, again, probably 4 or 5 seconds just with losing the time, having to reverse. So we will still be marginally better than before, I reckon, but not much better. But either way, the time was there. It's one of those things, I just didn't see that there was a rock there to me. But there we go. Whatever. We made it through the stage. And we see our time now, 4:37, so not bad. Still a lot of time to find, but either way, 5th on the leaderboard. I was pretty happy with that. I thought, you know, that's pretty solid, and I was very unlucky. Had I not hit that rock, I would have been 2nd or 3rd, and had I tuned the car or made some changes to it in terms of energy deployment, I could probably have found even more with more time and practice available to me, which I don't have, by the way. So I'm just going on here, doing these runs, and then that's it. On to the Belgium. Again, I know the stages relatively well in the Lancia, and you know, the Stratos is always a challenging car to drive. You can see here I went off. Now, what was going on? It's this throttle issue. I felt that the throttle control wasn't there for me as it stands, because of course the power cuts in when you're nearly on full power. So I was spinning out quite a bit, and my solution to this was to shift up earlier, to use a little bit of torque to take that out of the the wheels to prevent wheel spin. So I went through this stage, span out quite a few times, just trying to understand how the car worked on different corners, how much speed I could carry. But it wasn't a car I was necessarily able to get to grips with. I can't remember, we were on the leaderboard. But either way, we're going to crack on. We're going to crack on. And now we're going to run the stage properly. So I'm short shifting on this stage because I'm trying to dull the revs. Not quite how I'd like to slide through the corner, but not too bad. Very progressive on the power. Tippy-toeing a bit in this car. This is not a confident drive by any means. It's the kind of drive you do when you're recording a video for YouTube and you don't want to crash every 5 seconds. So gently on the power, the car sliding around, very low grip. One of the issues with this car was also very low engine sounds. I wasn't connecting with the engine note. It was very quiet on this car. It certainly needed work. I didn't feel like I could understand the power delivery in quite the way. So it was strange getting a feel for this car. There wasn't much feeling or information in terms of how it was performing. And with the throttle issues, it is not the easiest car to drive. Either way though, this time going through corners in a higher gear. The short shifting was the way forward for me. That's not to say it's the fastest way forward. It's amazing how this car surges forward when on the power. It really does get away from you very quickly. So constantly alert when driving this car. This car has pop-up headlights. I'll just point out, any car with pop-up headlights is instantly badass, and you should get out of its way on the motorway. There, you've been warned. So around these last few corners into that last final part of this stage, we have this flat out section here. It's not really flat out. You'll see me lifting quite a bit. I lack confidence in the rear end of the car to take it through these corners. So there is more speed to find. Braking. Look at that. How long we were braking to get to that corner. I said braking 6 times. There you go. So through the next part here, and high speed through here, nice and smooth. But again, I'm not confident. You'll see lots of lifting on this section. So I'm not flat through here. I don't feel confident in the car. I didn't know that section very well, so we lost a bit more time, but not too bad. And again, I'm not really flat out as I should be. I do go flat for a moment here, a little bit of flat, and then you'll see me just coasting a little bit more. Wasn't very comfortable, and I couldn't remember the end of the stage very well, so it's important because you need to understand sometimes if you need to use these curbs. Again, some of these corners feel quite tight, so should I take them in third? There's very little torque there, so it needs to be in the right gear, and it's very marginal sometimes. You've just got to dull down that wheel spin, get you through the section safely. So loads more speed to find, but it would take quite a lot of practice to understand the car, and you know, it's quite light, it's very nimble, and it has a lot of power delivery. So just trying to control that all the time and use it when you need it, but also recognising that, bearing in mind we've just gone from the modern Toyota WRC, the brakes on that car are a world better than you get on something like this, which has proper braking distances to it. So a couple more corners to go. At this point you're just focused on, let's do it clean for the rest of the stage, nail these last couple of corners and not spin out, and then that's the job done on that. Flat out through here, give it large, boom, and over the line. Let's see where we ended up. I think we ended up somewhere like 39th, something like that in the end. Or I'll wait and see when it comes up on there, and I'll let you know when I know, because I can't remember myself as I record this. Let's take a look then. So blah blah, rewards, blah blah. Let's see the leaderboard, and yep, 39th. So we know with the fine-tuning in terms of getting the most out of our time there, that there's a lot of time to be found, and I'm sure I could probably get quite I had a look and I could quite comfortably get into the top 10 with the times that were there. I know where I'm lifting and playing it safe for making the video. If I was practicing, if I was doing this as an e-sport, obviously I wouldn't be going into the rally itself. I'd be going to the time trial mode and nailing the time trial mode completely, before I did the dailies. And you know, once you've done them once, you'll learn these stages, and it kind of clicks and it comes back to you very quickly. You just need to run it in the car they've given you. On to Argentina, again, one of my favourite stages. I really like the fact they've brought Argentina back into the game. I'm really pleased they've worked on bringing some of these stages back. You know, great stages, love driving them. I think it's the Ford Fiesta, made a mistake on the bridge, fell off the track once. I was really struggling with this car, again, with the gearing. I kept peaking in the gears and wasn't finding, you know, I was shifting up, and if you shift up too early, again, you get that drop in torque revs, and it's just not, you need to get the revs just right when changing gear. You need to understand what the car's doing. I wasn't feeling this car at all, but I really enjoyed the process of the driving. I can't remember where we were. So we were at 90th after that first run. So I thought, well, let's have another go. And this time, again, unlearn what we've learned. And over the 3 goes, you'll just get quicker and quicker as I make a mistake on the first corner and go straight into the wall. Again, I'm not finding the speed. You see how I'm too slow? I was too slow around there. I wasn't quite certain how to sweep the car through the corner. I'd need to really practice with this car. It wasn't clicking with me. I wasn't feeling the car in terms of, there you go, hitting the rock again. Now what was happening there? It was just going out when you're in a higher gear. I couldn't figure out, you see, on the one hand I think, well, I'm peaking at the top of first or second. But when I shift up into third, the car just goes outwards. It just slides away from the corner. It doesn't seem to get any traction and start moving forward. So I was really struggling with, should I be oversteering into the corners and then getting on the power, or, you know, changing earlier, later. I was doing a lot of experimentation when I was running this, but I was also being very aggressive. I didn't really care about hitting walls or anything like that. I was just saying, let's see how fast we can go when we put our foot down and just go for it, hang on for dear life and brake as late as we can. Though there are some corners like that one where I was just a little bit unsighted. Night rally, you know, night rally's never easy, but feels very authentic. And it's also very rugged. Hitting a rock, car bouncing up, lost another couple of seconds. So we've lost about 5 seconds already, you know, off of an improved time of where we'd be. And forget about the leaders. I mean, the leaders are often aliens. They're on it all day anyway. We're just going to rate against ourselves. And we're feeling good about it right now. I'm really enjoying the driving. There's a lot of work going on the wheel, and I'm just feeling good sliding it through these corners. I'm enjoying it. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, and there's a mistake there, and that costs us obviously bags of time. So we lost 5 seconds on the first part, and we've lost 5 seconds on that part, but that's all right. We're being super aggressive here. I'm not really in it to win it. I'm in it to I was trying to learn how to drive this car, and so I'm trying to work through different gears, again down the hill, and the car just bounced up on a bump there. You just got to go slower into some of these corners. Again, those are areas where you just have to know. You can't react to that. You have to run the stage again and again and know where these little quirks are. Some of these corners, these hairpins are right on top of you, and at night more so, because you can't see into the distance very far. So it's difficult to assess some of the elements, how long some corners are, quite where you are on the stage. Again, I'm still trying to keep good speed though. I may have lost 10 seconds, but I don't care. With a bit of a wall bump there, that's all right. And now giving it large. Lots of speed through this section. Throwing the car into corners. I'm very unstable, so I'm not confident with my braking zones, with how the car's going to behave. The car again sliding outwards there through the corner. Wasn't going into the corner, it was just understeering, but also sliding away from me. And again, losing more time on these corners. I'm trying to find speed, but I'm just finding that with this car, I haven't really got it. I haven't got the speed, but at least I feel like if I ran it again, I ran the whole stage cleanly, I would probably improve my time by 10 seconds just by going a bit cleaner through the stage. Ultimately, it's a car that the higher you shift the gear, it just brings an enormous understeer, and you just need to work with that in terms of getting it down a gear just to get into the corners and get that traction. I am being very aggressive, mind you, so I'm not being my normal self. I just thought, let's just, where I say my normal self is a bit like how I ran Finland on the first stage. I normally just run these things cleanly so I can reduce the amount of recording time required to make you guys awesome videos. Right, so last part of the section, the surface changes from the rock to this powdery dirt, and again lots of understeer creeping in. Handling changes a lot on this section. Again, corners feel longer, slowing down a lot for the corners there. The car wasn't sliding in the way I would like through these corners. Nothing to me was comfortable, but I was still enjoying it because I was being so rugged and aggressive. That's why I was just like, raw, let's throw the car in, see what happens, maximise the speed, give it large, put your foot down. Little lack of confidence through here. Just again, I can't. What I'm seeing is that I'm turning into a corner and I'm peaking in a certain gear. I'm shifting up to the next gear, and then it's bringing in so much understeer that I'm struggling to get up through the gears in quite the way I would like. This is quite a committed section towards the end. Bit more committed this time. And just going for it. I learned a bit last time running this in terms of landmarks and when I need to brake. I think I'm still not quite brave enough on this final section. Come into the 2 corner, and then here you really just want to be committed over these bumps until there's a whiteboard on the right, I believe, and then the rock on the left. So you go flat and keep going flat, and there's the whiteboard and there's the rock, so you know, get it in there and you're over the finish. So that will have improved our time, but of course we lost a lot of time spinning out again, and realizing that you need to learn how to maximize your car on this course. Let's take a look at that time and see where we ended up. So 44th on the leaderboard, despite spinning out twice and a couple of crashes. Not too bad, not too bad. I'm quite pleased with that and enjoyed it immensely. So that's my first look. I've now joined my own team. The team VVV is set up. I'm going to learn all about the team thing and clubs and all the rest of it. We'll get all that set up, and I'll talk about that on a future video. But that's it from me for now. As ever, more soon.